So apparently my track record with getting up at 4 in the morning to go to the bathroom and then checking my phone to see massive roster news remains undefeated, because how the fuck do I look at my phone, look at my Discord, and see that Faze has benched Elige? I fucking hate it here. Past that, Faze also announced that his replacement is Jacob, a 21-year-old Polish rifler who has been doing quite well under BetClick Apogee, who, of course, if you didn't already know, employed Kerrigan's wife as their sports psychologist. So I fully believe that Kerrigan had a very good look at Jacob ahead of time and probably made this decision himself. I don't know, man. There's no real way around this. This is either the death nail for Faze, or once again, this could be Kerrigan's genius in action. He is one of the best eyes for talent we have, so there's some amount of me that wants to trust the process, but also Elige was Faze's best player, one of the best T-side players in the world, and replacing that output is nothing if not daunting, so let's try to break it down. If you guys enjoy this weary, beleaguered 4:30 in the morning news coverage, you can show me by leaving a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Help me at 10k subs by the end of the year. Also, no sponsor today, so follow me on twitch.tv/LionHeartZ2. We are still just shy of reaching our 1,000 follower goal, so it would help me out a lot. Without any further ado, let's start talking about it. And I guess the first place I would like to start is that I feel like Elige was never given the best set of circumstances when it came to playing with Faze. Obviously, on the surface level, he was a North American player moving to Europe for the first time. So throughout the early period, his first handful of events with Faze, he was still adjusting to moving overseas for the first time, which can definitely limit one's impact. You're adjusting to a totally brand new environment in that regard. Past that was the problem of he was stepping in to fill Rops's shoes, and his roles so directly clashed with Rain that I do firmly believe it limited both players' potential in a way that I hadn't personally factored in. I believed at the time that Rain, being a very adaptable player throughout his career, could well suit himself to new role responsibilities, but his transition was nothing if not rough, and that made it even harder for Elige because there was this back and forth of what spots would be conceded to either player, especially in the CT side setups. After that, you had the noticeable decline of Brokey, which left the team feeling very underwhelming in terms of overall firepower, with oftentimes Frozen and Elige taking turns as Faze's best overall individual piece. This also resulted in utter turmoil in terms of the map pool. Faze at no point during Elige's tenure established themselves with a true home map, and that 100% limited Kerrigan's ability to work the vetoes in a way that has defined him as the best IGL of all time. This instability culminated in Brokey being benched before the Austin Major, and Simple coming in as a Hail Mary play. And while Simple and Elige couldn't be more different as players and individuals, and certainly the chemistry was an immediate clash, the results in the server were immediately better, to the point that I and many others were firmly convinced that Simple stepping in permanently could have given Faze a new way out. Of course, that fizzled out in the palm of our hands. Simple went to BC Game, the best team in the world, and that branching pathway also shut in our faces, with Brokey having to come back in at the start of this most recent season. Despite all of that, and especially over the last couple of months, Elige has stood out as by far Faze's best player. He has stood out even more so as one of the best T-side players in the entire world, and I would go one hyperbolic limb further and say that Elige is pretty much only beat by two other riflers in terms of T-side aggressive impact, and that is of course Xertion and Donk. This is not NA bias, this is not bald man bias, this is not my usual love for Elige bias. He is undoubtedly one of the most efficient T-side players we have in World Counter-Strike, and replacing his impact is going to be nothing if not daunting. So when I look over HLTV and see that Faze have benched Elige first out of nowhere, I can't help but feel some fucking doom and gloom. Setting aside everything that's about to follow this in terms of Jacob coming in isolation, it couldn't feel any worse that Elige is the first player to get benched. If anything, I am fucking shocked that Rain or even Kerrigan are not stepping away first. And I do not say that lightly, as these are two of my favorite players of all time, But god damn it, dude, why is Faze benching their best player first? Surely, if Jacob was worth it to bring in for all of his talents, why not give him a shot over Rain? The only thing that makes sense to me, and granted, keep in mind, I'm not some insider, I don't have any behind the scenes information on this. My only guess is that this was a mutual decision between Elige and Kerrigan, and that Kerrigan has some vision about building around this new kid that somehow factors in Rain and works. I can only assume that the reason this move happens is because Elige agreed to it and Elige has some reason to step down as well, because if not, I can't see the upside of letting your best player walk away again. Because I can't help but feel like we're staring down the barrel of a ROPS 2.0 situation. Elige is going to go somewhere else, and he's going to shine. Obviously, some people think maybe it's a path back to Team Liquid. Who knows? I'll save some thoughts for that towards the end. But regardless, Elige is a prospect that you're going to want to pay money for. And he's not going to be a free agent for long, surely. Moving forward, let's talk about Jacob. Jacob is coming in from BetClick Apogee, which once again, tier 2 organization. You may know them most famously for also employing Kerrigan's wife as a sports psychologist. And I'm not using that in a negative context. I don't think that's a big deal. If anything, that kind of gives me a little more faith that this is coming from Kerrigan having seen a lot more about this guy than maybe he would have scouting in the tier 2 otherwise. Like, it seems very likely to me with this connection that Kerrigan has had a lot of time to look at Jacob and clearly see some potential within this player that makes him think that this is a worthwhile endeavor. And on the surface, there are, not as many logistical issues as you could expect. Jacob more or less one-for-one plays Elige's roles. He's significantly younger. He is a rookie for Kerrigan to mold into whatever weapon he needs, and Kerrigan famously throughout his career has done a fantastic job of that. Look no further than Frozen and Robs as prospects that Kerrigan has molded into superstars. So in a vacuum, Kerrigan getting a young up-and-coming rifler with a lot of potential certainly excites me. I just can't help but just nagging voice in the back of my mind just keeps saying, but why for Elige? Because if we're in a situation where Jacob is going to play the same roles, doesn't that present the same set of issues that Elige did playing alongside Rain? Wouldn't that same role clash that was an issue for Faze also still be present with Jacob instead? Now, with Jacob being a younger piece, maybe there's more room for him to be moldable and adaptable, but I don't know, man. Unless there's like an announcement later today or over the next few weeks that also involves Rain going out for another young piece, I just don't really see the vision, and I'm one of Kerrigan's strongest acolytes. I am at the church of Kerrigan every day praying, and I'm struggling to see the vision right now, Captain. Faze really desperately need like a solid anchor lurker player, and I feel like we're no closer to getting that, and adding another player that is going to still clash with Rain just feels like a move backwards. I don't know. I don't know. And then I just have to be this guy. Will Jacob end up being as good as Elige? I feel like that's by no means guaranteed. Because when you look at their stats, yeah, they're super similar. Jacob has literally 1/17 billionth the amount of tier 1 LAN experience that Elige has. He's 21 years old, so he's young, but he's not that young. And while their ratings and their overall stats are pretty similar, Elige recently has again been one of the best T-side players in the world by a very, very wide margin. So is Jacob going to be able to put up similar 1.2 plus rating numbers on the T-side? I feel like that's a lot to ask of a rookie stepping into Faze. I feel like my first tweet is probably my most accurate feelings about this. Elige going out for a 21-year-old shit-hot European rifler is either the biggest 5D chess maneuver of Kerrigan's entire career, or literally this roster is dead. I can't tell which. All I know is I feel like I just woke up to text from my Discord like someone had died. One final note, what's next for Elige? That is a great question. I think everyone's gonna jump at the opportunity to say Team Liquid. I think that makes the most sense. However, there's about 500,000 different issues with that specific move in isolation. Maybe the first and foremost, that Twist and Elige almost 100% fucking hate each other. But maybe it's one of those things where, when they were a couple, things weren't working out. They had to separate. They went and tried to date some other people in the meantime. And maybe during that period where they were seeing other people, They both realize that despite their issues, they were made for each other, and Twist and Elige can finally come back together, and then Naf can be the third wheel, and then Liquid can win the major, and then I can be happy, and then I can wake up from this dream. But that just doesn't seem like something that's going to happen. So past that, I mean, dude, any international team that wants to throw money at Elige will probably want him. I mean, everyone's gonna joke, but you know, I'm sure BC Games would like Elige. Oh god, I can't believe I just said that. But on a serious note, Na'Vi Elige, kick out Emma, bring in Elige. I'm kind of okay with that. We'll see. I don't know. I'll be here when Elige makes that announcement, though. So if you guys enjoy this kind of weary news coverage, you can show me by leaving a like and a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel already. Help me to 10K subs by the end of the year. No sponsor. Follow me on twitch.tv/LionHeartZ. Do it. If I had to plug one thing, is that yesterday we uploaded the 7th episode of Hold the Angle. It's a podcast I host with Why Not and Vincent Cass, talking about the Blast Bounty. It's also now available on Spotify, at least this most recent episode, and I'm working on getting the other episodes in the backlog uploaded over the next couple of days. So if you want to enjoy a podcast with me yapping, but also in an audio-only experience via Spotify, please do so. That would help out a lot. With that, I would like to thank our channel members, Justin Jesse Furley, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Patatas Kaftesi, PTR, B1 Games, Cody Foxworthy, Justin Vegt, I'm Flashbank, Snowy White, Rowdy, Vergil'sPlasticChair, LBKcs, Snax Enjoyer, Crunchybar, zerotwocs, drudenae, Kron, and Gano. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so. Leave a down below. Bye.